Welcome back to I Don't Have Time to Read. Today we're diving deep into a book you guys always ask about. It's one that's considered a modern classic, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Mm.
And listen, if your tree pile's anything like mine, it's basically a fire hazard at this point. So that's why we're here, to break down the plot, the symbolism, all the themes
Yes.
of The Alchemist.
Yeah.
So you can get the gist without needing to, actually read the whole thing.
Well, it's funny you should say that because The Alchemist is a deceptively simple book. Like on the surface, it's written in this very accessible, almost fable-like style. But underneath that, there's this whole deep exploration of pursuing your dreams and how everything in life is connected. I mean, it's no wonder it's been translated into over 80 languages and sold millions of copies worldwide.
And here's something I bet most people don't know. The Alchemist was actually a total slop when it first came out. The publisher almost gave up on it completely. But then through this crazy series of events, it just gained momentum and became the global phenomenon it is today. It's like the book itself is a testament to perseverance.
Wow, you're totally right. It really speaks to that idea that even what we might see as setbacks or failures can actually be part of a larger journey towards success.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get into the story itself. We meet Santiago, this young shepherd living in Andalusia, and he keeps having this recurring dream about finding treasure at the Egyptian pyramids.
And this dream is more than just a random thought for him. It really sets him on this quest to understand what it means, and ultimately it leads him to embark on this journey that changes his whole life.
Yeah, and along the way, he meets all these interesting people who act as guides and mentors. Like there's this old woman who interprets dreams and tells Santiago he has to follow his intuition. And then there's Melchizedek, the king of Salem. He's super mysterious, and he introduces Santiago to this idea of a personal legend.
Oh yeah, Melchizedek is a great character. He explains that a personal legend is basically your reason for being, the unique purpose you were born to fulfill. He teaches Santiago about recognizing omens, those little signs and synchronicities that the universe uses to guide us towards our destinies.
So we're already getting into some pretty deep stuff right from the beginning. It's not just an adventure story. It's about self-discovery and finding your place in the world.
It totally is. And it's interesting how Coelho uses these almost archetypal figures, like the wise old woman, the king with hidden knowledge, to represent these universal experiences.
Yeah, it gives the story this timeless, almost mythical quality. So Santiago sets off on his journey to Egypt. And of course, like any good adventure, he faces some obstacles along the way.
Right. One of the first major challenges he faces is getting robbed. He loses all of his money shortly after arriving in Tangier, which forces him to confront his attachment to material things and find a new way to continue on his journey.
I remember when I first read that part, I was like, oh no, how's he going to get to Egypt now?
Haha, right. But that's the thing about journeys, both literal and metaphorical ones. They rarely go exactly as planned, and sometimes those unexpected detours are what we need to get us out of our comfort zones and onto a new path.
I love it. Sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself.
Exactly. And by losing his money, Santiago has to rely on his resourcefulness and his willingness to work hard to reach his goal. So he ends up taking a job at a crystal merchant shop. And there he learns some really valuable lessons about business and listening to his intuition and this idea of the flow of energy in the universe.
So even though it's a setback, it's not a total loss. He's still gaining new knowledge and experience.
Exactly. And through his work at the crystal shop, Santiago actually earns enough money to join a caravan heading across the Sahara Desert towards Egypt. And this is where he meets another key character, the camel driver.
Okay, so the camel driver, he represents a different kind of wisdom, right? Like it's more about being present and trusting the journey.
You got it. The camel driver really embodies this philosophy of living in the moment and accepting whatever life throws at you. He teaches Santiago to really observe the world around him, to pay attention to those signs and omens we were talking about, and to accept that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Yeah, that's such a valuable lesson, especially these days when everything's so fast-paced.
I know, right? He reminds us to slow down, to appreciate the beauty of the present moment, and to trust that life is unfolding exactly as it should.
And speaking of the journey, the desert itself becomes such a powerful symbol in the story.
Oh, absolutely. The desert is this place of intense challenge and immense beauty. It's where Santiago has to confront his fears and his doubts. But it's also where he experiences this profound connection to nature and to something bigger than himself.
And it's not just him on this journey, is it? He meets other travelers too who are searching for something.
Yeah, he does. There's this one guy, the Englishman, who is trying to find the legendary alchemist. And this encounter really highlights the idea that lots of people are on a similar path of self-discovery. They're all searching for wisdom and meaning in their lives.
So it's like Santiago's not alone in this quest.
Exactly. And through his conversations with the Englishman, Santiago starts to understand that the path to wisdom involves reading and studying, but also experiencing life
And
firsthand.
putting that knowledge into action.
Exactly. And as the caravan keeps going, Santiago finds himself drawn to the vastness of the desert, to that sense of endless possibility it represents.
So even though Santiago's journey is just getting started, he's already learned so much.
He has, and this is only part one of his adventure.
Welcome back to our deep dive into The Alchemist. Last time we left off with Santiago traveling across the Sahara Desert with that caravan. He was learning from the camel driver about living in the present and really trusting the journey.
Oh, yeah. And we were talking about how the desert is such a powerful symbol in the story. It's this huge, unforgiving landscape that really pushes Santiago to his limits and forces him to face his deepest fears.
Exactly. And it's in this crazy environment that he starts to understand how everything is connected. The camel driver tells him about the soul of the world, this universal energy that connects every single thing in the universe.
It's like that idea that we're all part of something way bigger than ourselves, and that everything is connected in the end. That's it, exactly. And as Santiago gets deeper into the desert, he starts to feel this connection more and more. He starts seeing omens everywhere, not just in dreams or from wise people, but in like the birds flying the sand, shifting even the wind.
He's tuning into that deeper language of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
the one without words that we talked about.
Exactly. And this awareness is like preparing him for his meeting with the alchemist, which happens at this beautiful oasis in the middle of the desert.
It's almost like a reward for all the tough stuff he went through, a place of peace and abundance.
Yeah, I like that. And at this oasis, Santiago meets Fatima. She's this beautiful and mysterious desert woman, and he falls head over heels in love.
And that adds a whole new layer to this story, right? Now he has to figure out how to balance his love for Fatima with his quest to fulfill his personal legend.
For sure it does. And it makes you wonder, do we have to choose between love and our dreams? Is it possible to have both?
I think a lot of us struggle with that. It's like that classic conflict between following your heart and chasing your ambitions.
Totally. But what happens to Santiago suggests that sometimes love can make you stronger. It can give you the inspiration to fulfill your personal legend.
So it's not always one or the other. Love can actually fuel your passions and give you the courage to go after your dreams.
You got it. And speaking of going after dreams, it's at this oasis that Santiago finally meets the alchemist. This guy becomes his ultimate guide and mentor. It's a really big moment in the story.
That's like everything Santiago has gone through, all those lessons and challenges. It was all leading up to this meeting.
Absolutely. The alchemist doesn't just tell Santiago what to do, he teaches him how to listen to his own heart, how to trust his intuition and recognize those signs and omens that are guiding him.
So he's not just a teacher, he's like helping Santiago unlock his own wisdom and potential.
Precisely. One of the most important things the alchemist teaches Santiago is about the soul of the world. He explains that this universal energy flows through everything. It connects everyone and everything.
It's like that line from the book, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it.
Perfect example. The alchemist is teaching Santiago that when we align ourselves with the soul of the world, when we chase our personal legends with passion and purpose, the universe will help us.
That's so empowering. But it also makes me think, what if your personal legend isn't something huge or amazing? What if it's something small or seems unimportant?
That's a really good question. I think the alchemist is saying that it doesn't matter how big or small your personal legend is. What matters is that you're living true to yourself. You're going after what brings you joy and fulfillment.
So it's not about comparing yourself to other people
Yeah.
or trying to be super successful. It's about listening to your own heart and following the path that feels right for you.
Exactly. And the alchemist keeps saying this. He tells Santiago that true happiness comes from following your heart, not from trying to live up to other people's expectations.
It's about being real,
Yeah.
being true to yourself, even if it means doing things differently.
Yeah, totally. And it's also about trusting the journey. The alchemist tells Santiago that obstacles and setbacks are not failures. They're chances to grow and learn.
And we see that happening with Santiago. He gets robbed. He faces danger in the desert. He even has his heart broken.
That's right. But through all these challenges, Santiago comes out stronger and more determined. He learns to adapt, to keep going, and to trust that the universe is leading him to where he needs to be.
It's like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. And because he accepts the tough stuff, Santiago is able to appreciate the good times even more. He learns to live in the moment, to see the beauty around him, and to value the connections he makes with others.
So the journey is the treasure.
Beautifully said. And as Santiago's time with the alchemist ends, he's ready for the final part of his journey. The trip to the pyramids and the treasure he's been looking for.
Santiago has changed so much with the alchemist's guidance. He's not that naive shepherd who left Andalusia.
He's not. He's learned to trust his gut, to face challenges, and to see how everything is connected. He's ready for whatever comes next because he knows he has the strength and wisdom inside him.
This is getting exciting. I can't wait to hear what happens when he gets to the pyramids.
Me too. And that's what we'll talk about next time in the final part of our deep dive into The Alchemist.
All right, so we're back and ready to finish our deep dive into The Alchemist. I'm so curious to hear what happens when Santiago finally reaches the pyramids.
It's definitely a big moment, but remember, the journey and the transformation are just as important as the destination in this story.
Right. And Santiago's already gone through so much change, learning to trust his intuition, facing his fears, seeing how everything's connected.
Exactly. But even with all that new wisdom, he still has one last test. As he gets close to the pyramids, he's attacked by robbers.
Oh, no.
They beat him and steal everything he has, even the gold he earned in Tangier.
Seriously, after everything he's been through, that's awful.
It's a brutal experience for him. And it makes him question if he was wrong all along. Maybe there is no treasure. Maybe he wasted years chasing a dream.
It's like hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
When everything seems pointless.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, something amazing happens. As he's lying there defeated, he remembers what the alchemist told him about the real meaning of treasure.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The alchemist said, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." It wasn't about actual riches. It was something deeper.
Exactly. And as Santiago thinks about this, it hits him. The real treasure wasn't at the pyramids at all. It was the journey itself, the experiences, the lessons, the person he became.
Wow, it's deep. The treasure was inside him the whole time.
Right, and it shows that what we're looking for might be closer than we think. It's not always about some far-off goal. It's about growing and changing as we go through life.
The journey is the reward.
Exactly, and as Santiago realizes this, get this, one of the robbers comes back and tells him that he's had a recurring dream too, about a treasure buried at
Don't tell me.
the abandoned church in Andalusia, where Santiago used to be a shepherd.
No way. It all comes back to where he started. The treasure was under that sycamore tree.
I know, right? Sometimes we have to go far away to find what's been right in front of us.
So Santiago goes back to Spain, digs under the tree, and finds a chest full of gold and jewels. He did it.
He did, but the money isn't the main point anymore. The real treasure is his wisdom, his growth, his connection to the soul of the world.
So The Alchemist is about the power of following your dreams. Even when it's hard and you don't know what's going to happen, it's about listening to your heart, trusting your gut, and enjoying the ride. Knowing that who you become along the way is what truly matters.
I love that. That's what makes this story so timeless and relatable. It's about that human need for meaning, purpose, connection. It reminds us that we all have something special to offer the world, and that if we follow our hearts and trust the process, we can unlock our potential and live a life full of joy and fulfillment.
So if you're feeling lost or stuck, maybe it's time to check out The Alchemist. And remember the magic of going after your dreams.
I agree. It's a book that can change your life.
This has been an amazing deep dive into The Alchemist. Thanks for joining us on I Don't Have Time to Read, where we bring you the essence of the story without taking up all your time for